Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our information session on Agri-Impact, a joint initiative of the Israel Innovation Authority, Bayer, Tel Aviv University, and the Fuchsman Foundation to support the piloting, adaptation, and scale-up of affordable and innovative Israeli tech solutions for smallholder farmers. The webinar is recorded and will be uploaded to Israel Innovation Authority's website and YouTube channel in the next few days. My name is Sarah Rosenberg. I head the India, Middle East, and Africa desk at the Israel Innovation Authority. I assume everyone here already knows about the Israel Innovation Authority, but just in case, for those who might not, we are an independent, publicly funded agency that provides a variety of practical tools and funding platforms to support the Israeli Tech Hub. As part of our international activities, we promote and support collaboration in innovation between Israeli companies and leading corporates across the globe, including Bayer, who's with us today. Let me now introduce our guests for today's session. So we're very excited to have with us Katharina Moller-Herman, Global Smallholder Farming Partnership Lead at Bayer Crop Science, Dr. Ram Fishman, Associate Professor of Public Policy at Tel Aviv University and Director of the Nitsan Lab for Sustainable Development, Anurag Babjai, Smallholder Segment Lead India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka at Bayer, and Kathy Jia, Smallholder Segment Lead Greater China, Bayer. In today's session, we'll first give you a brief introduction to the Innovation Authority's International Pilot Program and application process. Then Katharina will present Bayer's strategy for smallholder agriculture and the Agri-Impact initiative. Ram will give us an overview of Nitsan Lab and Tel Aviv University students' role in the Agri-Impact program. Anurag will share with us his local perspective from the field in India and the lessons learned from Agri-Impact's first cycle in 2023. And last but not least, Kathy will present the opportunities for collaboration with Bayer in addressing the challenges of smallholder farmers in China. We'll, of course, end with a Q&A session, so please feel free to write your questions in the Q&A section in the chat, and we'll make sure to answer them at the end of the webinar. Please make sure to specify to whom you're addressing your question so that we know who to direct it to. So let's start with a quick introduction to the Innovation Authority's International Pilot Program. The International Pilot Program with multinationals provides support to Israeli companies that are interested to pilot, adapt, and scale up their technologies in collaboration with large global corporates. In order to participate in this program, the only requirement is to be an R&D performing company registered and operating in Israel. If you already received support from the Innovation Authority in the past or still have an ongoing project with us, you can still apply, except in few cases. So please feel free to be in touch with me if you have specific questions on that matter. So what do you get? You can receive funding of up to 50% of the approved project budget from the Innovation Authority for a period of up to 24 months. As always with the Innovation Authority, this funding is what we call a conditional grant, which means that if the project succeeds and you manage to reach commercialization, you will have to pay us back in the form of royalties only up to the amount that you received. However, if the project fails, then the funding becomes a full grant. In addition, you will receive in-kind support from the international partner, in our case, Bayer. Basically, any kind of non-financial assistance required to test your technology within the partner's premises, to scale up your production and commercialize the product in the target market. It's important to clarify that since we're talking about a joint pilot project and not joint R&D, the IP stays with the Israeli company and there is no IP sharing with the global corporate. Now let's have a quick look at the application process. This opportunity to apply for a joint project with Bayer is part of a general call for proposals for international collaboration that opened in September 2023 and will close on February 19th, 2024 at 12 p.m. sharp. For those of you who are interested to apply, the first step is to submit an expression of interest with basic information about your company and technology. It's a very short form that requires only a few minutes of your time. The link will be shared with you at the end of the webinar. Please note that the deadline for this initial EOI phase is December 14th, so end of next week, not much time left. The Bayer team will then go over all the EOIs and shortlist the companies with whom they are interested to collaborate. The pre-selected companies are then invited to submit a full application to the Innovation Authority before the deadline. That includes the application form, the project budget, and a letter of intent signed by Bayer. In this phase, the pre-selected companies will work hand in hand with the relevant Bayer teams and the students from Tel Aviv University. Ram will tell us more about that in a few minutes. Once your application is submitted, start the evaluation process where the Innovation Authority carefully evaluates the technological and business potential of the proposed project. Approximately 3 months after the closure of the call for proposals, the project is presented to the Innovation Authority's Research Committee, who decides which projects to fund, and you are notified of the decision. If your project is approved, you will have to sign the detailed MOU with buyer and submit it to the Innovation Authority to start your project and receive your initial grant payment. That's all for me. I hope it was clear. If you have any question, again, feel free to put it in the Q&A section. And I'm now handing over to Katarina. Katarina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm super excited to be here. It's, as Sarah mentioned rightly, it's our second round. And I'm happy to give you some insights of what Bayer is targeting, what we're looking at smallholders, and my colleagues later on will provide you with the details then on the ground. So having said that, obviously our general disclaimer that whatever we say is forward-looking here as well. As said, that this is a collaboration between the IIA, Bayer, the Nissan Lab, and if we in Bayer look at smallholders, as most of us, we look at farmers who operate on farms below 10 hectares. Having said that, that means 90%, 97% of these are actually smallholder farmers compared to the other 3% in the word farming part. We look at the low and middle income countries, and in this case here, we're looking specifically into India and China. Very important for us, especially if we look into the veg seeds part and to the vegetable growers, their contribution of smallholders is they actually feed 50% of the developing countries. So they do have a major impact. That, having said that, with their biggest contribution, they do face major challenges, which we want to solve, and looking there to your partnership to help us with. So if we look at today at the smallholder farmers, what we see are challenges is they have limited access to land. As said, we look below than 10 hectares. The majority actually we're working with in a lot of the ecosystems is actually below 2 hectares. We also seen that the latest knowledge on good agricultural practices makes a key difference on how they grow their crops, improve their farming practices, but also look at their productivity. If we look at the complete value chain, and not only at the growing piece, we see if they want to grow high quality products, improve their harvest, that financial access to financial services is one of the levers, which is very well connected to access to markets. Usually the one and the other helps to provide that. To go next on the 5 challenges that we see is access to high quality inputs is one of the key to help them actually grow. We do have multiple programs here in place. It's not only from our end, but it's also if you look into fertilizers and irrigation, which are key to help them grow their crops. Last but not least, we list market data and access. So where's the offtake to their final produce? But also, do they know where they get the best price for their produce? A lot of you will see that digital is not listed explicitly. We see that digital helps to solve these challenges. It's every company we work with and any innovation we work with in the digital part, which we see is that still boots on the ground are required to kick it off, given the different access. If you look at this, Bayer has committed itself to support 100 million smallholders by 2030 in these low and middle income countries by improving their access to products, services, and partnerships. And this is where our joint collaboration here comes into place. The part which we say how do we want to reach the 100 million says we want to increase how farming is being done. That we want to increase the expertise of farmers. We want to increase their insight opportunities. Partnerships are key wherever we go in the smallholder countries. For example, if you look especially into India, where we work strong with Better Life Farming, which will be the platform which we grant you access to. And in addition, as said before, access to finance and markets is also done via that platform. What we're especially doing in this alliance, in the Better Life Farming Alliance, is we look at rural entrepreneurship, but we're also looking at bringing all partners along the value chain together. Last, here you see that we look at tailored solutions. This is obviously dedicated to new technologies, to equip them with a better ability in pest control, soil health, but also in disease prevention, as well as weed management. So what are we looking for from your end is we want to look at Israeli companies and innovators that you submit your applications to pilot and offer affordable and innovative solutions for smallholders on the ground that can help them address their challenges, specifically in the geographies in India and China. What we as the private sector company will give you, we will give you the platform and access to our customers to test your innovations. And then, as mentioned before by Sarah, we will help you to commercialize it on a large scale, respectively within the tested country and potentially then further. So you see that. Currently, we're in the first part where we call for innovation. Sarah has nicely laid out the different timelines. If we look in the test in the Better Life Farming Centers, this is specifically referring to India. We have a little bit different approaches in China. And when you've gone through, in our case, we usually go through multiple seasons, so it depends highly on the crop. What we're looking at is if we all agree on both ends that the results are promising and successful, we will look at how to commercialize your products. I'll close quickly, almost there, is I wanted to just to what we're looking for. It can be in the area of precision ag, increased resilience to climate change, post-harvest solutions, creating market linkage, everything that is on and beyond the farm, gender smart solutions, as well as looking at the opportunity into insurances and business models, which is should help them to incentivize sustainable practices. Sarah, with that, I'll hand over to Ram to continue.
Thank you so much, Katharina. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Ram Fishman to present the Nissan Lab and the lab's contribution to the Agri-Impact program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Katharina. I'd like to explain where we at Tel Aviv University come into this program. Basically, we are a research group at Tel Aviv University comprising of economists, engineers, other experts, faculty, and a group of very highly motivated students. And our mission in general, the mission of our lab, is to bridge the wide gap that exists between innovators like you, entrepreneurs like you, who have potentially wonderful solutions to the challenges of smallholder agriculture, and your intended customer base, the farmers themselves. This is a very, very large gap to bridge because it's very hard for innovators like you to understand this market segment, the segment of smallholder farmers. As Katharina mentioned, they operate in a very different physical environment and a very different economic environment than the one that perhaps are your normal customers operate in. So it's hard to just take any solution and to make it work for this huge market segment. And that is where we come in. We have years and years of experience in doing research and working with smallholder farmers in different parts of the world. And we try to bring this experience and this expertise in order to help innovators like you adapt and tailor your technology to the needs of the smallholder market, and then really make it happen and help you on the way to commercialization. So we sit in this, our student and ourselves, our faculty sit in between these two worlds trying to create a bridge. How do we do it? Well, in this case, in the case of Agri-Impact, we perform three functions that are very important for your success as companies. First of all, as Katerina mentioned, we are going to help you in developing your proposals. Based on your core technology, your core solution, we will work with you to understand how to make it fit the needs and an environment and circumstances in which the smallholder farmers operate. So we will help you also prepare the proposal to the Innovation Authority, and in doing so, we'll also help you to design the pilot and design the evaluation so that at the end of the pilot, we will have clear indications about where your technology works well, where the needs for improvement are, how to better adapt it, etc. The key, and there are two important tools we use to do that. First of all, we are your boots on the ground. We have a lot of experience spending time in the field, in villages, in India and other countries. Our students will spend months in the field working for you and with you. They'll be your boots on the ground. They'll be your eyes and ears. They'll help you implement the pilot, and they'll help measure and evaluate it. And they'll do all that both because they are passionate about this agenda and also because it provides very interesting material for them to write their research and master's thesis on. And the other element of it is we'll do all this work to generate evidence, to generate data, both physical, biophysical, and behavioral data on your farmers that will help all of us understand exactly where things work and do not work and what the actual impact that your technology achieves, which is something which is very hard to predict without actually doing it in the field. As I mentioned, we have a lot of experience in this. We've worked with many students. We recruit outstanding students to do this work. They are very dedicated, very passionate, and we also train them very carefully to do this work. We've worked with many Israeli companies, both in agriculture and other sectors, to install technologies and evaluate them with many partners in the field in India, in some parts of Africa as well. Just to make it a little bit more concrete, let me give you an example from a recent pilot that we conducted in the last round of this same program with a company called NOF, which provides a post-harvest solution to smallholder farmers. So you see our team is here in the field, actually working with the farmers, taking their produce, putting it into the technology here, the NOF technology, actually doing it for you, spending time in the village, collecting data, doing measurements, working very hard for weeks at a time. In this case, it's a post-harvest solution, so they're measuring weights. And beyond that, beyond the field, we also do evaluation of the market potential, how much money your technology can generate, not in an abstract market, but in real conditions of markets in India or in the destination country, so that we can monetize the value of your technology as an important step towards the commercialization that Katerina mentioned. So I'll end here and happy to take questions later on.
Thank you so much, Ram. Now over to Anurag to share with us his perspective from the field in India.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so thank you guys. So I'm extremely excited to tell you about how things are happening in India. We are actually in the first phase of Agri-Impact pilot. For today's session, I'm going to be talking about India as a market, how we are there as a buyer as a company, and Katerina talks about Better Life Farming as an initiative, which you guys can also explore in terms of when the experiments are happening in India, and then what are the key things which we're gonna be learned from the first phase of our Agri-Impact project. So India is the fastest growing GDP globally. As you might be witnessing that India is doing
and Rack, sorry to
fantastic.
interrupt you. You're in presenter mode. We don't see your full screen.
Go to the display settings on the top, I think. One to the right. To the right, there's like a display settings with a triangle. Open it.
I can't see on my screen for some reason.
Okay.
So try the three dots here next to at the bottom. Yes, perfect.
Thanks. Sorry.
Thanks.
So India is, like I said, India is one of the fastest growing GDP globally, and still, despite of that growth, still a large contribution of GDP is coming from agriculture. India is a land of smallholders. We have around 90% of farmers in India is smallholder farmer, and our 20% GDP is contributing through agriculture only. But when we talk about smallholders, the average land holding in India is around 1 hectare. This also tells that there is a plenty of opportunity for us to kind of handhold with those smallholders and make sure that what the problems they are facing, we can try to mitigate some of those things. If I talk about growth trends, the acreages are also growing across India, specifically in the vegetable market. And also the productions also is growing around 3.3% in India. There is some trends which are pretty much clearly coming out in terms of how the climate is working in India. India is a diverse country. We have hilly terrains in northern India. We also have plains in the central part of the India. We have seas, and we also have western and eastern Ghats. So it's a diverse climate, and that also gives us an opportunity to Indian farmers to kind of produce things year around. So you have some seasons happening around at any given point in time across India. We also see there is some trends happening where government is promoting farmer producer organizations where rather than like working with individual smallholders, there are FPOs which are which is going to be creating across India. And those FPOs are also supported by government and can also become maybe new value chain partners probably in future. We also see there are vibrant startups which are coming across India in around 3,000 plus startups in agriculture sectors already there in India, but still most of them are working on spaces like last mile reach and also making sure that they can provide an alternate e-commerce to the farming community. If I talk about overall market and what are the characteristics we can see, this whole market is driven by how the rains being kind of coming to India. Still, it's a monsoon dependent crop. If we have good rains, then we have like better sowing and you can have like better produce prices coming in. But the things, if we don't have good rains, then things will be go on toss. Similarly, there are diverse set of crops, diverse set of local crops. There are broader portfolio. So even if you talk about one crop or one variety or one type of seeds, you can get different flavors, different things for the same crops in Indian perspective. The distribution model across India is very, very fragmented, very diverse, multi-layered. There are different models which are happening around, but distribution is more or less still in a very, not in a very direct way, but more kind of an indirect way. We see also e-commerce and value chain partnerships are growing across India, where a couple of value chain companies were trying to experiment, but still there is not having enough government policies and regulations kind of supporting some of those initiatives, but still things are kind of popping up. There are three major areas where we saw major digital tools are coming in India, which include the solutions, the advocacies, and also efficiencies across. And just to give you a bigger perspective, how the Indian smallholders being part of the global smallholder farmers worldwide. So we see 500 million farmers globally, and out of that, more than 100 million farmers are in India, and around 175 million farmers in China. So what we are talking here today is more than 50% of smallholder farmers when we are talking about countries like India, China put together. And within that, if I talk about in India, we have like 7 to 8 million vegetable seed growers also, which are very diverse, very fragmented, and also give us more opportunity to experiment in some of those things. Here I'm going to be talking about how the bear looks like in the Indian context. We are the market leader from 2 decades. We have presence across India. Almost 120 years we are there in the Indian market. Along with seeds, we also sell chemicals, biologicals, and also seeds for corn and other hybrid seeds for rice as well. Today we are reaching around 20 million smallholder farmers through different initiatives, technologies, and services in India. We are doing multiple food chain partnerships across India. We reach around 91,000 farmers through that. We have 7 owned manufacturing sites and 4 R&D stations across. So in total, what I try to say that India is a complex market, but Bayer is also kind of best suited in terms of how we present and how we gonna be like doing things vis-a-vis to how the smallholder market is needed at this point in time. So this slide actually talks about the concept, which Katharina briefly talks about it, and we are trying to do a kind of big efforts in this particular way, which is better life farming. Better life farming is a concept which we started in 2018 with 4 centers, where our intent is to create agri-entrepreneur model where one farmer from the local village vicinity can become an agri-entrepreneur who can cater 5 to 10 villages and reach out to 500 and 600 farmers in and across. With that model, what we are trying to do that we would like to make sure that that particular agri-consultant or agri-entrepreneur can have all the things which can help them to create a local ecosystem in the marketplace. When I'm saying ecosystem, things like market linkages, agronomic practices, training, information, the quality farm inputs, finance linkages, irrigation, everything can be accessible through those centers with that agri-consultant. So we kind of empower those agri-consultants so that they know and they can help the fellow farmers, and they also they're also being trained with the newer technologies, and our teams will be there on the ground to also develop some of those model plots in and across. Those model plots are like center of excellence from our side, where we would like to demonstrate things that can help farmers to fetch better prices, better output, and also better income at the end of the day. We're also trying to do market linkages and also making sure that there are some financials and credit things can be also accessible to smallholder farmers through those Better Life Farming Center. At this point in time, it is being led by us, Bayer, IFC, Netafim. We also have partners like Yara, Dehat, Big Basket. Those are the local ones. In holistically, if you see that there are a lot of benefits which farmers can fetch through the Better Life Farming concept, which include financing solution, easy to access to the banking services, access to the high quality training, access to the products, the fair products, the yield increase, and also they can have like better produced prices, income increase, livelihood improvements, multiple benefits which we want to be doing so. And when we are having this particular Agri-Impact pilot, I think this is a platform which we can also offer to the startups whose technologies can be part of this particular concept and can also be further evaluated with the Better Life Farming ecosystem. So this is the last slide which I have, which talks about how we are progressing in Agri-Impact project. So this is the first year we launched this Agri-Impact in India. We started in November 2022 with 30 applicants. Now we got three final startups who's going to be testing in India. We tested these pilots in Maharashtra, which is western part of India, where we also have our local teams and also BLF team kind of part of this particular pilot. You can see the pictures of NOF and Celicrop in the bottom, where NOF is basically on post-harvest loss reduction. And I think you probably also saw the videos from the NOF, which Ram has shared in the last presentation. So things have been done on the ground, where things being supported by Bayer and also from the Tel Aviv University side, and also our local teams can be helping in terms of farmer selection, identifying leads, and also making sure that there are good logistics being supported on the ground. And Celicrop, which is on climate change resilience, you can see on the right side, which is having more seed treatment solutions, which we are doing with our technical team to kind of get an understanding on how this whole technology works. There are few practicalities, few learnings which we got in the first phase, which include the things like funding. There are some challenges. There are few starters who got like 50% funding. So there are starters who didn't get the funding. So those things are there, but those things need to be figured out between Bayer, Tel Aviv University, and also with the local partners, and also with the startups as well. Logistics, the biggest challenge, where we see people coming from Israel to India and also experimenting some of those things. We also have equipments coming to us, technologies coming to us. That also needs to be taken care of. Local regulation and government policies for certain new startups. India is still in a budding phase at this point in time. There are no clear policies for certain things at this moment. So we also need to see from that perspective if this technology fits in the current regulatory framework. Then based on the technology, we need to see farmer profiling, geographical selections, and also making sure that we have proper SOPs in place so that we will not either infringe any regulation, and also we're not going to be making sure that the farmers will not get any kind of negative impact because of that. And then the resourcing piece, which we kind of like helping those startups to be like boots on the ground along with the Tel Aviv University people. So those kind of things which we need to figure out at this moment. In total, at this moment, we are in an evaluations phase where those things kind of did with these two startup, and we'll look forward how we can take it further from those things which we kind of learned in the first phase. So that's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Anurag. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm now inviting Kathy to present Bayer's challenges in China.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, but not in full screen. It was fine, just a second. Yes, now yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So as you know, China is a large smallholder growth market. So next, I will introduce the industry trends and our key challenge for China smallholders. So here are the 4 key mega trends in China vegetable industry. So firstly, China is the large market in the world, both for vegetable production and consumption, and is highly fragmented market and varied in crops, soil and climate conditions, and cultivation environment. And smallholder are the majority growth in China vegetable market. And second, because of the aging population and rural to urban migration will lead to the reduction of growth in China and increase the labor cost in the future, which will influence the farming practice and buying decision in the future. And on the other hand, we also see the disruptive innovation, which refers to the introduction of a new technology, new practice and channels and business models has emerged in recent years, like mechanical operation, drones, precision farming, e-commerce platform. But the majority advanced technology mainly used for professional growth. We still need more good practice for smallholders, especially for vegetable smallholders in China. And the last but not least, from consumer perspective, there's an increasing demand on vegetable flavor, quality, and diversity, and also traceability, and reduce of chemical and low residue on vegetable for health from consumer perspective. So all these macro trends on consumers, growth, and industry shape future of vegetable agriculture in China. And when we see the smallholder profiles in China, there are mainly 2 types by planting environment. Open field smallholders and greenhouse smallholders. And the greenhouse smallholders including solar greenhouse and tunnels. And the average farm size of those 2 types is around 0.3 hectare. Here are some typical crops they plant in the 2 type planting environment. And the key difference between those 2 types are their agriculture input and income. And normally, the value of crop and varieties planted in greenhouse environment are higher than that planted in open field. Hence, greenhouse smallholders with higher tolerance of high quality seeds and willingness to pay more for integrated solutions. So what's the key challenge for China's smallholders today and in the future? And firstly, the market linkage. The market linkage is about the connecting farmers more directly with markets. Now, for the majority smallholders in China, they still don't have the proper channels to directly link to the upstream markets like retailers and consumers. And they also don't have the commercial ability to sell their products to consumers by themselves. And on the other hand, because of their small size for each grow, there are some challenges to guarantee the stable supply and consistent quality for consumers. And besides, now smallholders, they don't have the access to acquire supply and demand information in fresh vegetable market to understand the consumer preference and trends in the following years. So they also have the needs of some guidance to decide which crop they should plant next year to better guarantee their income. And secondly, smallholders, they still have the high demand of solutions to increase disease and climate resistance. They have significant losses, low yield and poor quality due to climate change and disease. They need potential solution like seed with trees for resilience and disease resistance, or new growing methods, new technology and solution which help to avoid the negative impact by climate and disease. And thirdly, mechanical to reduce labor cost. Because of aging population in China, we face the challenge on reduction of growth in the following decade. We already increased the mechanization rate in China, especially for the field crop, but we still have the needs for smart mechanical solutions for vegetable smallholder growers, which are more suitable for their small size, more adaptable to the vegetable crop and cost-effective for smallholders. And next one is knowledge gap. So for smallholders, from sowing to harvest, there are many problems need to be resolved. It will be very helpful for China smallholder if they can get a great consultant service, economic guidance in time to help them to grow more successfully and to support and uplift their skill and knowledge. And besides, we also have the needs for smallholders on processing agriculture to increase efficiency and productivity and reduce environment impact. And the key point is also that the technology and solution should be cost effective and a good return on investment for smallholders. And another challenge, the last but not least, is post-harvest food losses. We need solution to improve the shelf life to reduce food losses. And the average from farmer to retailers is around 35% food losses in China. And there are losses not only in the harvest by smallholders, but also in the entire value chain from packaging, transportation, and selling process. So we also have the challenge to resolve the food losses in the market. So to summarize about the key pain points and needs for China vegetable smallholders, look forward to your affordable and innovative solution that can be adapted to fit smallholder farmers in China. And we can support on the pilot to build connection with buyer vs China R&D farm and also demo farmers and growth in China to do the pilot on the ground. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So now is the time to move to the Q&A. Okay, so we have a few questions in the chat. In the meantime, if you have more, please feel free to send us your questions. If we are a startup in one of IAA's incubators, can we still participate and get an additional fund for this project? So if you remember at the beginning, I said you can apply even if you're receiving support from the IAA in other programs, except in a few cases. So that's one of the few cases. Unfortunately, when you're in the incubator program or in the seed program of the IAA, you cannot apply for any other grant opportunity that we are offering. So you first need to complete your program in the incubator, and then you'll be able to apply. The Innovation Authority offers 50% financing, and you offer to finance the other 50%. So no. So the Innovation Authority can provide up to 50% of the project cost to the Israeli company. Bayer is not providing the remaining 50%. The Israeli company has to match the funding that the Innovation Authority gives. As always, as you probably know, most of you, in the all the grants that the Innovation Authority offers, we always ask you to pitch in and to match the grant. So Bayer will not be putting the remaining 50%. The contribution of Bayer is only what we call in-kind support. So to help you on the ground implement your pilot and hopefully scale up. And we unfortunately cannot help you raise the other 50%. But hopefully in many cases, if you submit an application and the project is approved, then it serves as a stamp, quality stamp, to go back to a potential investor to say the Innovation Authority approved my project and is willing to put 50%. Now I want help me raise the remaining 50%. Question, I don't know, maybe to our friends in China and India, does this program apply to livestock as well? Anurag or Kathy?
No, we are not looking for livestock as of now in India.
Okay. Kathy, same for you? Okay. Well, yes. Sorry, we didn't hear.
Not in China, we don't have.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not very common in China.
Okay. Do you help raise a seed round for companies involved in the development of AI-based robotics for agriculture? So again, we don't help raise a seed round. You can apply to funding from the Innovation Authority in many different tracks that we offer. As I mentioned, we, in most cases, can fund up to 50% of the project cost. You may consider maybe applying to one of the incubators and receive additional support. Now, one more question for Anurag and Kathy. What is the percentage of greenhouses in India and China among the small farm owners?
For China, okay, yeah.
Go ahead, Kathy. Go ahead.
For China, I cannot provide an exact number by now, but the greenhouse is the key market in China.
So as far as India is concerned, I don't have like exact number like how Kathy's mentioned, but it's not to that extent what China is as of now. We are still developing, and there are certain grants which is coming from by government, which helps us to kind of increase those things. And in very few crops, not in every crop. So few examples are cucumbers, flowers, those crops, and these kind of greenhouses are kind of developing, not in every crop. So, yeah.
Thank you. May we get a list of contacts of the participants? Yes, we'll share with you at the end of the webinar the emails, the relevant emails, especially my email and Naama's email from Bayer's team in Israel, who is responsible for who's the contact person for on behalf of Bayer. Question to Anurag and Kathy: do the farmers in India, China make soil samplings in their fields? Is this a common practice?
No. So there are technologies and startups, and also government is also promoting soil sampling in the field, but it's not a general practice. Very few farmers are doing it at this point in time, and there is an opportunity I see in this space as well.
Yes, similar situation in China. It's not a common practice in China, but we indeed have some soil health problems in the future because we need more precision farming in the future. We can look forward to the trend.
Thank you. Could a non-Israeli applied research center act as a subcontractor of an Israeli company? Yes, it's possible. There is a cap in the amount of funding that can be paid to this subcontractor. You can refer to the guidelines and the rules of the track number 1 of the Innovation Authority. We can connect separately. I'll send you the details. What about fruit trees? Anurag and Kathy, fruit, is it also relevant or only vegetables?
Not fruit trees, but few fruits which are like for example watermelon, melons we can consider, but not the trees at this point in time.
Yeah, the same for China.
Okay, thank you. How many farms are using drip irrigation?
So as far as India is concerned, it depends upon like geography and also farming need, right? So say for example, Southern India and Western India, where the primary source of irrigation is groundwater, and the groundwater is too deep, there farmers are kind of shifted to drip irrigations. But whereas if you talk about Northern India and Central India, where that's more a river, that's more having like more rivers in those part of the country. So that the drip irrigation is not so popular, and the water level in the ground is much above than the Southern and Western India. So that depends upon which region you are and what exactly the dynamics of that particular market.
Thank you, Anurag. Kathy, you want to add something?
Yeah, in China, we also have farmers already use the drip irrigation in the field.
I am a registered freelancer. Must I be a registered company to apply? Yes. You need to be an R&D performing company registered and operating in Israel in order to be able to apply. That's the only eligibility criteria. Those small hydroponics units for family farming producing leafy greens with high efficiency can be interesting for your markets.
Hydroponics is a new concept, and we can see what exactly is coming through this particular technology at this point in time. But if I talk about India, I think we can the number of units which we have in India, you can count on fingers. So that's where we are. So when we're talking about 100 million farmers and the hydroponics units are not more than 10, so you can see we are still in very nascent phase. But we can explore. I can say that.
In China, we also already have the application, for example, like letters, but now it's mainly used for professional growth in China for this technology, these units.
Thank you. Just want to say that in case you're not sure if your technology is suitable or corresponds to what buyer is looking for, I strongly recommend that you submit the expression of interest, and then buyer will review all the proposals and reach out to you if your technology is relevant. It's a really short form that only requests a few minutes of your time, where we ask basic details about your company and technology, just to help buyer filter the most relevant projects. Next question, monitoring the supply chain platforms can add to the program, including monitoring carbon credit. Not sure I understand the question, but if the panelists understand, please feel free to answer.
I see it's more a comment rather than a question.
Any other question from the crowd? We have a few minutes left. If not, again, please feel free to reach out to us separately, to me, and I can connect you to the buyer teams if you want to connect and ask additional questions. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat. So thank you, everyone. This is the link to the EOI form, the QR code. This is our website for further information, my email address if you want to reach out and if you want to be connected to the buyer teams. Thank you everyone for your participation. A huge thank you to our panelists for joining us. Huge thank you to Bayer for the partnership and to Tel Aviv University. A follow-up email will be sent to all the participants with our contact details and all the relevant links to the call for proposals and the EOI form. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
And hopefully it will result in some quality submissions, applications, and great technologies to use. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Enjoy your night.
Bye.
Your night, your day. Good night, Kathy and Alaga.
Good night, Kathy. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.